In this morning's scriptures, we hear of things that perhaps we know, but that we don't necessarily like. From the book of Jeremiah, we hear of the ancient Israelites and their exile to Babylon. God is speaking to them through the prophet and tells them, in short, to settle in. You're going to be here longer than you think. And this isn't exactly what you might think exiles want to hear. Pardon me, it's allergy season. Think of the times you've felt exiled in your own life. Those times when, for whatever reason, you've had to set out to uncharted territories, far from the home and life you've loved. Think of the times when you haven't known where you are and all you want to do is go back. And the words of comfort that you may want to hear in those times might be more along the lines of, "Don't worry, this too shall pass," or "This is only temporary, I promise it'll get better." We lose our job and we hope another one is right around the corner. Our landlord decides to sell the building or raises our rent beyond what we were already stretching to meet. We find another apartment. Our spouse gets a job in another city, or our kids go off to college in another city, and our aging parents need to be moved closer to us or us closer to them. We find ourselves feeling out of sorts with our own selves, exiles in our own lives. And maybe all we want to hear is that soon enough we'll be able to go home again. Do you think those ancient Israelites wanted to stay in Babylon? Or did they just want to go home, back to their land, back to their promised land? God doesn't provide such an answer. Instead, God tells those who have lost everything and been moved to a foreign land to build houses and to live in them and to plant gardens and to eat what they produce. This is really lovely language and really beautiful imagery of what we can do when we feel all is lost. Build a home, settle into the earth, grow your food, and plan a feast for the harvest. If you're noticing, these are not quickly done activities. These are not short stay, you're only going to be here for a moment things. These are long-term seasonal changes. And if that isn't enough, we then hear God tell these exiles to, while you're there, marry each other. And have your children marry each other, so that they may have children and that you may multiply in your exile, not decrease. And this, to me, is a bit of a math problem. When thinking of exile from the places I have loved, I want to think of exile as temporary, brief even, the kind of state where we just hold steady, just this will be over before we can shake an eye, don't rock the boat, pray for the best and trust that you'll be back home soon. Don't get too comfy. That's not what God says. Instead, God says, seek the welfare of your new home. For in its welfare, you will find your welfare. You may not be able to go home again, but you can build a new one. Now, in the gospel that we hear today, we don't encounter a question of multiplication or of division, but rather one of subtraction, one of loss. 10 men with dermatological concerns approach Jesus begging for his mercy. Jesus prescribes their cure, and 10 men are cured. One of them, 1 out of the 10, has the decency to return to Jesus to say thank you and to praise God for God's goodness. Where are the other 9? Jesus says. Didn't I work a miracle for 10, not just 1? Indeed, Jesus. Where's everyone else? Where are their thank you notes? Where are their songs of praise and thanksgiving? Is it so hard to simply acknowledge what a gift you have been given? One of the things that I love about this story of Jesus is that we hear some of Jesus' humanity in it. This child of God who is fully God and fully human, who came to know all of us, all of our experiences, the fullness of our emotions, the fullness of our good parts that we love to talk about, and the fullness of some of the parts that were a little embarrassed that we had those thoughts. And here we see Jesus' disappointment in others. The disappointment that says, really? I thought they'd do better. Or, is it so hard to just be polite? Or, what am I, chopped liver? Where are the other 9? Surely, many of us here can relate. We go out of our way to do something good or nice or kind or helpful, we think. We didn't do it for the thanks. We did it because it was the right thing to do. And still, those 2 words, thank you, well, they go such a very, very long way, don't they? They're so easy to say and to mean. And the slight that Jesus feels with his question, what about the other 9, is one I can certainly relate to from time to time. The high road, even Jesus knows, can be a lonely one. Stay where you are exiled, where you don't want to be, and multiply. Do the work for 10, but see the result of only 1. I will admit that these 2 equations are not ones that bring cheer to the weary body or comfort the downtrodden soul. This is the sort of math that says the road is long, and who knows what will happen, and it will feel lonely, and you will be lost. And it is your faith, and it is your faith alone that will make you well. This is hard math. And in our time, division seems to be everyone's favorite mathematical operation. Divide the American public, go to war to divide a nation's sovereign land and annex it. Demand the release of prisoners of war from a people whom you do not regard as a nation themselves. Pass laws that maintain red line districts and the right from the wrong side of the tracks. Claim separate but equal on nearly any binary divide, but don't do anything to make it so. Do the work of defending your side rather than understanding the other side. We're really good at dividing. We take away, and we're all left at a loss. And in that loss and in that exiled place, God says, build houses and live in them. Build houses in this strange place where you don't want to be. Not temporary structures, not tents, not an RV that you can pick up and move back. Houses. Build houses and live in them. And then God says, plant gardens and eat what they produce. Do you know how long gardens take to produce anything that you can eat? This isn't a road trip with a few snacks. This is the long haul. And God says, fall in love and get married and surround yourself with new family. Those people that were also exiles, they are now yours. You belong to each other. And together, multiply. And God says, stop looking for your future in your past. Now, this is hard. And it's also so very natural. When we experience loss, how much time do we spend going over and over and over all that was lost? What could have been different? What we could have done differently? If only, if only, if only. Those stages of grief that people love to quote as if there's some magic formula for how to change, those stages that include denial and bargaining, they're never as straightforward as anyone wants to think. We wake up in the morning hopeful, but soon enough the slings and arrows begin to hit us. Another rejection letter from another job that we wanted, another unreturned phone call, another notice from whoever it is that's bringing the bad news we don't want to hear, another illness, another death, another loss. All of us are exiles in a land that we don't want to be in. All of us exiles in a land, frankly, of loss. We have been ever since we left that garden so many, many, many years ago. All of us lost. No going back. Our feet are pointed forward because that's the best way we can walk. And yet we still all stumble, and we still all get lost. And the map is indecipherable, and it's taking longer than we thought it should to get wherever it is we thought we were going, and the math never adds up, and we still can't go home. And no, God says, no, you're not going back there. You're coming here. God says, you're coming here, where I am, and I'm going to walk with you. That's what Jesus says. And God says to us in this time, we must build a home and live in it. And we must plant our gardens, and we must feast from it. We must build what we want, and in doing so, find all that we need. 10 people were made well by Jesus one day, and one of them gave thanks, but the others were still made well. But one was given an additional blessing. Where are we in these stories today? Where do you find yourself? Where do you find our church here in the middle of a stewardship season that is all about building a home for ourselves and living in it? A pledge drive that should be about addition and that is about ready for all of us, but that has this question always of, where is everyone else? Build this house, God says, and live in it. Support it, and nurture it, and make it grow, and marvel at its wonders. Seek the welfare of this house, of the church, of the city where I have sent you, so says our God, and pray to the Lord on its behalf. For in its welfare, you will find your welfare. A rising tide raises all boats. Scripture's math often doesn't make sense at a first glance. Loaves and fishes for how many, you said, Jesus? A temple being destroyed and rebuilt in only 3 days, that's what you say, Lord? How is it a triune God anyway? These are riddles for the ages, and maybe they're not to be understood. They're not math problems for us to solve. They're miracles for us to marvel. There's no going back. Whatever is lost may never be found. What is to come is still not yet known, and the blessing of one is upon all of us. So build yourself a place and live in that place and plant and grow and prepare yourself. For as you make a home, others too shall make a home. And as you plant a garden, others too shall plant a garden. And together, this strange place, where maybe none of us expected ever to be, will become a home place, our place, a together place. And in this place, what is good for all will be good for one. And prepare for a feast. Prepare for a feast. A feast that defies mathematical expectation is still to come. That harvest that we are planting is coming. So build and live and grow and give thanks. And in the welfare of all, when you care about the welfare for all, you will find your own welfare too. And what a house that will be. What a house. What a home. What a garden. What a place. Can you see it? God says to build it.